I'm Brandon Klein. Happens to be my 2-bedroom apartment that we converted into a little show recording space. Jay was actually here a year and a half ago, and we talked about public speaking and a little bit of stand-up comedy, public speaking, battle rapping. Today, we're going to be talking about Jay's new venture, Train to Remain Fitness, but we're also going to dive into the person behind the venture and what compels him to do such work. This is going to be considered episode 0 of Jay's new show. Jay was over in my kitchen the other day, and we were talking about life and shows and podcasting. And I thought it would be a really good idea to have this concept of episode 0, which is like the prologue that you read in a book that sometimes someone else writes, right? Like the foreword. And so you could think of this as like me writing Jay's foreword to his show. So this is an opportunity for someone else to take the stand and see what I can get out of Jay rather than Jay needing to record content out of himself. Sometimes it's nice to have someone else draw it out of you. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Today's not about me, but a little bit about me so that you know who's doing the interviewing. I'm a meditation instructor. I'm a graduate student in counseling, pursuing a career as a mental health therapist. And I nerd out about this stuff. So, I mean, Jay's talked to me about applying this to my everyday life. I haven't been his client formally, but as a friend, this has just naturally happened on nature walks around the neighborhood and such together. So I think I have an intimate knowledge of what he's about and what he's doing, but I'm going to act and speak from a beginner's mind. So the questions I'm going to ask, I might kind of already know the answer to, but I'm hoping that I even learn a little bit more from the answers you give. So just to start it off, it's very vague, but a little bit about, tell me where you're at today in this moment. Like who is the person you are right now? What are the values you're living by?
I'm a human, first and foremost. Start there. Still black, so there's that. I guess I'm trying to understand the question that you're asking.
Yeah, values are like things that guide you day to day.
Okay.
Right?
So
like your reasons for doing what you do.
Sure. Yeah, straight out the gate.
Do you want how are you instead?
I mean, no, we can skip the preamble.
Good. We've never done preambles ever in conversations.
Yeah, we don't have to then.
No.
To answer your question, who am I and what I value? Health first and foremost, and aligning with my purpose. You know, I've been obviously very passionate about health, whether it's physical health or mental health. Obviously, been passionate about that for a long time. And because years ago I heard this quote that says, the person who has their health wants everything, but the person who doesn't have that only wants that. And I have probably been in a place where mental health wise, where that's all I wanted was like my mental health. And so these experiences have brought me to this place here where through my own journey of healing and self-discovery, I thought I'd share that with others.
I don't know how intimate or vulnerable you wish to get, and there's no right answer to this, but is there anything you want to share about your early years? Yeah. Not going to spend a lot of time there, but anything about like why that is now the case, that you think about things like mental health and health? Were there certain experiences in your youth that led you to this?
I would say maybe I've always been like an anxious kid. You know, this is my whole life, probably a low tolerance for stress. And a few years ago, I did some drugs. And the drugs were a bad time instead of a good time. They're supposed to be good time drugs, so they turn into bad time drugs. And the thing with certain drugs is that they can put your brain into edit mode.
Yeah.
And if you have a heightened negative emotional response, it can kind of lock you down there.
So, someone literally just said that exact same thing to me last week. I'm really glad you brought that
really?
up.
Yeah.
It's a really nice way of phrasing it.
Absolutely. And it just it brought my inherent anxiety or nervousness or like stress to the surface. And kept it there. Yeah. And so I went on a several-year journey where I experimented with different modalities of just to fix or improve my mental health.
And is that when we would often talk about neurofeedback?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Like neurofeedback was a result of that. The EMDR I've done, of course. Brain spotting, psychotherapy. And through my experiences, I found that for me, at least, and I think for many people, talk therapy usually isn't enough. And by
You're saying that to a future counselor,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
agree
exactly.
with you. By the
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
yeah. I love it. Good.
Yeah. I mean, it's always good to talk through how we
it is.
feel,
I'm
our
playing with it.
emotions,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
get validated and all that. But it's like, where does it go from there? A lot of times.
Yeah.
And like the brain produces the experience of consciousness. You know, we got the 6 pounds of fatty tissue that has every memory we've ever had, every thought, feeling, every emotion. And when we approach healing, if you will, through the body, I find that the results can be much more consistent and permanent in a lot of ways.
So then tell me how about the body ties in, because so far you've talked about the mental landscape.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And did the body part come first for you in terms of being interested? Because I know you've done personal training, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So how did that start? That the passion for body, physique, physical health.
Yeah, I mean, I've been pretty locked in with the body part for a long time.
Yeah.
I did a men's physique show. Got my oversized trophy right here. You know, Linda Murray Classic 2019. You know, on stage in shorts, no speedos. You know, they didn't pay enough for that. So, but yes, and so I've always for years, for decades actually, I've been pretty locked in with my physical health, but never really like my mental health in a sense. I was just trying to, I guess, look good in the mirror. But through working on my mental health, I learned the importance of diet, for one. Like how certain foods can be neuroinflammatory, that can lead to symptoms of depression, or prioritizing sleep and the importance of that. Like there's probably very few antidepressant drugs that can do as well as a good night's sleep if your sleep is already poor. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So one thing we've talked about a lot, and you've already alluded to it, is I think different disciplines can get siphoned off and almost obsessed with themselves, right?
Yeah.
Mental health can think, well, it's all about talk therapy. It's
Right,
all
exactly.
about mental
Yeah,
health.
of
You know,
course.
the dietitians could think it's only about nutrition. You know,
Yeah.
people who do sleep. You're multifaceted, and I think that trends us into what your program is a little
Yeah.
bit, which is it's addressing these different pillars.
Yeah.
Could you walk us through what some of these pillars are of your 12-week program, some of the things you're looking to address with people?
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, the body does not operate in silos. So if your sleep is trash, your mental health's probably going to follow.
Yeah.
You're probably going to gain more fat. If you're not getting enough protein, you don't have the building blocks for the amino acids for your brain to produce serotonin. You know, these simple things that we don't make that connection for.
Interesting.
So within my program, 4 pillars. I have the strength stability system. That's the first one, where it's quick, efficient. You know, I'm in the gym probably an hour tops per week.
Really?
Yeah. It would probably be less time if I wasn't flexing in the mirror as much. But
What percentage of the time is flexing? You think?
probably 70%.
70%?
You know, just
Okay.
like impressed with my
30%
gains.
working out?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
good ratio.
You know, you got to find the right lighting. For
Of
the,
course,
for
you're
the
just,
pictures.
you're feeling it out.
Of course. I mean, because each exercise is approximately 90 seconds, if you do 5 exercises, what is that, like 7 minutes and 30 seconds of actual work? And so it's...
I'm not going to do the math, but
Yeah.
trust you.
I've done it. I think if anyone in the audience want to do that math for me? No? All right, cool. No, you good. I was kidding. But yeah. So it's quick, efficient. It is difficult, but it gets the job done.
I want to hammer into that for a second. We've talked about it a lot, so I know the answer to this.
Yeah.
But that's foreign to a lot of people, especially that have gone to personal trainers who do hour-long classes.
Yeah.
Or you're saying this as if it's like the thing to do, right? Like, yeah, I know. I'm just I'm flexing for 40 minutes, working out for 20. But I don't think that's common. Can you tell me a little bit about your philosophy for hitting the gym?
Sure. And I mean, I won't say I discovered this or invented this or anything. I've read several books about it. This one book, Body by Science, completely changed how I viewed resistance training. You know, I read that book 20 years after lifting weights and was like, I wish I read this book 20 years ago.
Wow.
There's different types of muscle fibers, right? You have your type 1, your slow twitch, your intermediate, and then your fast twitch or type 2. And the thing about them is, due to Henneman's size principle, there's a sequential order of muscle fiber type recruitment. Okay, I'm going to be throwing out some $3 words today, but I'm going to try not to throw out too many.
I'm following.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah.
So your different muscle fiber types will fire at different times. So if you think about it this way, say you're standing on one leg, right? After a while, what, 3 minutes, 2 minutes top, maybe 4 minutes. Your legs are tired and you want to stop doing that. But if you're walking, you can do that miles and miles and miles, because your slow twitch muscle fibers, they recover like that very fast. And it takes a while to fatigue them they have to fatigue first. The low order motor units have to fatigue first, and then...
Right, so it's like a checklist.
Exactly, yeah, it goes down the checklist. And with my style of training, there's no inertia. There's no momentum when you're moving the weight. It's all very slow.
Right.
And because there's a sequential order, muscle fiber type recruitment, you fatigue the slow twitch, and then they're intermediate, and then you can get down to the fast twitch.
All within seconds?
I mean, the goal is 45 to 90 seconds.
Okay, so within that period of time, you're hitting all three of those.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I mean, you can get more granular, like, because there's like type 1.5, blah, blah, blah. But yes, yeah, that's the goal, is to fatigue them in that order. And even if you get in the ballpark, you don't have to be fully fatigued, but you can probably still get results that you never did before. And for most people, they're like, oh, I want to do 5 sets of 30, something crazy, like 10 sets of 10. And it's, in my mind, it's like, after I had learned this, I'm like, why would I do anything different?
And you noticed results.
Oh, definitely.
Changed.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, full disclosure, I have decent genetics, pretty good genetics, but I have done my best to capitalize on those.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've worked with people who, like, we would call them hard gainers, who would have difficulty put on muscle mass. And then we do this once a week. And he's like, Jay, I can't believe it. Like, people even talking about that I have muscle. Like, I don't know what muscles are.
Yeah.
He was very surprised.
So this is part of excuse me if I'm getting it wrong, is it part of the strength and stability part of the program? Is it how you address
exactly.
it?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So that's part one.
Strength stability system. Yeah.
Okay, and that's hitting the gym about an hour a week.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. You can do 2 full body exercises, or you can break it up depending on your prerogative, how you prefer things. Because some people, they can probably get it done once a week, or like 5 or 6 exercises once a week. But we want to get them in there a little bit so we don't want people to get too lazy. The second one, that's the nutrition, or the fuel focus framework. That's basically the nutritional foundation of it, where you eat the food your body needs. And because most people are under-muscled, and if you don't have the proper nutritional framework to support that, it's going to be harder to build that.
How do you determine what each individual person needs? Like, do you consider, like, you have a one food plan that works for everyone, or do you look at each individual person?
So there's a couple of foundational things that I'll recommend for everybody, like even the people who's watching this in the audience and virtually. Have at least 30 grams of protein with your first meal, and most adults shouldn't have less than 100 grams of protein per day.
Why?
Well, most of the solid matter in your body is made out of amino acids, and protein is made out of amino acids. And so your hair follicles, the neurons in your brain, your liver tissue, your heart, it's more than just your muscles. Like, you need it.
And that brings us to, kind of, not to sidetrack us, how it's affecting our mental health.
Exactly. Oh yeah, exactly. It's a pernicious thing that so many people are unaware of. Like, there's someone that's close to me. I recommended that she start having, a protein shake in the morning with her breakfast. And we were talking about it not too long ago, and she was like, you know what, Jay? I didn't get my seasonal depression this winter. Yeah, and it's so funny to me, because it wasn't even like seasonal depression. She was just not eating enough protein. And it was like, case in point.
So then what are the questions you're asking someone when they come to you and you're on this fuel focus framework section? What are the questions you're asking them? Or maybe you're not asking questions, maybe you know right off the bat, but how are you figuring out what they need other than those kind of like foundational things that everyone would need? Of course.
We do a 3-day food journal. We'll have like maybe Thursday, Friday, Saturday, just to see how they are in the weekend, weekday. And we'll look at what they're already eating and what they do like and don't like. And we try to just swap things out, maybe add more vegetables, less donuts, things like that. Because for most people, if they cut out the breads pastas, all the junk food, the sugars, the
processed stuff.
all the processed
Anything in a
food.
box.
Yeah, and eat a bit more protein, drink more water. Like their composition will start to shift over time, and or even, yeah. So those are the type of questions I ask. Yeah.
Okay, so strength, stability.
Yep.
Feel focus.
Yep. The third one is the nervous system reset. So this is also a very important pillar, is sleep. It's foundational. Most people sleep poorly because our environments are not conducive towards sleeping well.
Yeah, they're not.
It really isn't. I mean, we got these phones that are more entertaining than anything else we've ever had in human history.
Yeah.
And it got these emitting blue light, it's stimulating.
It lowers melatonin levels.
Exactly. Yeah. It decreases the release of melatonin in the evening. And it just makes it so much harder to get a good night's sleep just because of that.
It's actually a big problem.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's the biggest one.
Oh, big
of
time.
anything we've talked about.
Yeah, big time. It's huge. It's huge because so many people, since it's been such a gradual shift towards like less and less sleep,
Yeah, people don't notice.
they're not even aware of it.
know.
Yeah. It's crazy because sleep is so important. If you think of it from a evolutionary perspective, you're basically absolutely defenseless for a third of the day.
Yeah.
You know, if it wasn't so important, evolution would have gotten rid of it a long time ago. And like that's something we have to think about.
Yeah, especially without shelter. Like we
Yeah.
were very vulnerable
Exactly.
to predator.
Yeah, for like hundreds of thousands of years of human history, like or millions if you go even further back beyond that, and so locking that in itself will improve people's mental health. I mean, you deprive someone of sleep, or even reduce their. Here's an example. Every year we do this crazy experiment in this country where we deprive people of 1 hour less of sleep. And it's called daylight savings time. I don't know why they call it that because they ain't saving nobody. But every year this happens where we remove an hour, there's a 22% increase in heart attacks just for that 1 hour less of sleep. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it just shows how impactful that can be, just something like that.
Now, I know you're passionate about habit change and habit formation. That's something I do want to dive into later if
Yeah.
we don't satisfactorily do it now. But great, right? And I'm challenging you, but I'm not really challenging you. I'm just talking to you.
bring
'Cause
it
I'm
on.
well, I'm talking to
Let's
myself.
party.
I'm talking to my future clients. I'm talking to you, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
talking to all of us
Yeah.
in this room. But great, let's improve our sleep. But there's so many confounding variables there, right? Like you alluded to, like phone addiction.
Yeah.
What do we do, or what do you do with your clients if there are these things that are blocking people
Yeah.
from making the changes that you and them want to make?
Yeah. I introduce information. Like I try to understand what their last 90 minutes or so of their day looks like.
Yeah, that's a good start.
And we look at that and to figure out what can we remove or what can we tweak or change.
So really good start, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just by looking at that and explaining to people the information that's pertinent or important to know, it can help shift the behavior and accountability. That's huge.
Let's walk through, and this isn't to place judgment on anyone in this room, but let's walk through what the last 90 minutes of a day might be for someone who's struggling with sleep and is doing things to mess with their melatonin levels. And then let's talk about what a shift to a healthier approach to the last 90 minutes of a day might look like as a model.
Yeah, of course. So first of all,
How about this? I'll present to you the one that's not good, and then you'll tell me how we could shift it.
Sure.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. So let's say hypothetically, I bring my phone in my bedroom.
Yeah.
And I have my computer with me, and I like to watch an episode of something for 30 minutes before bed, and then I scroll on TikTok for a little bit, and then I'm using my phone as an alarm clock.
Yeah.
I don't need it for any emergency purposes. I can't really tell you why I use it as an alarm clock, but it's convenient. I do have an alarm clock in my closet. I haven't used it in years. So what would you say to me if that's how I'm spending my last 90 minutes?
Yeah, I would say I would try to have as little exposure to screens as possible, especially something like TikTok, which is so stimulating. I mean, how long are the videos on TikTok? Like, are they 7 seconds? No, that was Vine.
They're anywhere from like 3 seconds to a minute.
Yeah, exactly. It's just so stimulating, like so much more than what we have evolved for. You know, these people inventing this technology work faster than evolution does, and so it's always gonna like stimulate our brains in ways that nothing else will or can. So I would try to reduce that. Maybe do a paper book, maybe journaling. Like just spend that 10 minutes reading a paper book or like I bought a Nook off eBay for like $16, and it doesn't have a backlight, and I can just put books on there, and just something like that for 15 minutes. I would say probably taking some magnesium. I would say that's a huge thing.
So that helped me a ton.
Yeah.
Taking magnesium glycinate at night.
Exactly. Yeah, that's huge.
Because melatonin messed with my dreams.
crazy
It gave me
dreams,
really
right?
vivid dreams,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I'd wake up a
yeah.
little depressed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing with melatonin is it's not really like it might say 5 milligrams on the bottle, but it might be 10 or it might be 1.
Yeah, it's not regulated.
You never, it's poorly regulated, and they've even shown that children really shouldn't take melatonin because it can delay or prevent the onset of puberty just from it. It's a blocker in that way, and so it's I don't recommend it for most people. Try magnesium, try different pre-bed ritual or routine. I would say doing some deep breathing. Like there's something called a physiological sigh. Like I do like a dozen of those before bed to kind of shift you from your sympathetic or fight or flight to rest and digest.
What does it sound like, or what is it like?
It's basically, I do one longer inhale through the nose, then a shorter inhale, then a long, slow exhale through the mouth. And it will consistently slow my heart rate. Anytime before any speaking engagement, I do that. But I'll lay on my back, put my feet up, and just kind of do that and not listen to anything, just focus on my breath. And it will drop my pulse like that. And the lower your pulse is before bed, usually that's a good indicator of how well you're going to sleep. So I would do
And
that.
what would you say to someone who's struggling to change these habits? You know, they come back week after week and they're like, I just can't shake it like that phone. It's just too...
Yeah. We would keep trying different alternatives, you know, like maybe they need blocker apps or something like that because it is very addictive and different people have different dopamine systems. And so that's why some people will get addicted to gambling and some don't. Some are more addicted to their phones than others. And so knowing that we have that neurodiversity, I try to adapt and adjust or maybe just try to find replacements or something like that. And because it's such a pernicious thing because it's ubiquitous. We're all on our phones all day, but it's an incredible invention, but it's really impedes our progress in a lot of ways. You know, I know some of the younger people may not remember this, but there was a time where we didn't have smartphones and it felt like we had so much more time during the day. Yeah. You know, it's wild. It's absolutely crazy.
So those are the first three aspects. Want to walk us through the fourth?
Yeah. So the fourth one is the mental performance framework, which is basically, it's the mental health pillar, but a lot of guys, they hear anything mental health related, just kind of run the other way. And so I have to disguise it as mental performance. You know?
Why do you think that is, that mental health might scare men away?
Yeah, it's such a stigma attached to it that like we just suck it up. You know, I think even Bill Burr had a bit in one of his stand-ups about it, where he basically says like, "Oh, you just push it down. It doesn't matter. You're just angry, you're frustrated, or stressed out. Just push it down, and then you have a heart attack at 50." You know, like
Right.
It's so even to this day, it's still a strong. It's so much better.
It is
than it was like in the previous generation, the generation beyond that, but it's still something that a lot of men are afraid to talk about, in a sense.
So you call it mental performance as a little easier entry?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just so we don't scare them away. And in there, we do different exercises to understand what their goals are long term. Like, what do they want out of life? Or different writing protocols they may have had a stressor or traumatic event that still plagues them to this day, and it could have happened decades ago. Yep. And that will change how we perceive reality. And so by understanding what that is and how it impacts us today, we can change the way we view ourselves and change our thinking. Like that's just, like each week is something different. And my goal with that is to give that attention to mental health, but also from a more I guess, scientific perspective, and so people can sit down and understand themselves. So we explore their past in a couple different ways, develop or spend time figuring out their ideal future, like 3 to 5 years from now, and then we kind of walk backwards from there. Like, okay, this is your ideal future. You want to put on muscle mass. You want to make more money. You want to find a partner in a healthy relationship. Okay, what do you need to be doing today to build that up for yourself in the future? And so we just kind of walk backwards. And then the week after that, we do like our weekly breakdown where we sit down and we look at their calendar on a spreadsheet, figure out what the non-negotiables are, how much time you need for sleep, how much time you need for meal prep and all that, and try to fill in most hours of the day around the non-negotiables. And because, say you want to train for a marathon, okay, or I don't know why someone would want to do that, but if they do, you need to allocate time to that.
Yeah.
And so by having a schedule and being intentional with your time, it makes it so much easier to progress in that goal. And that's the thing, our brains are wired, we're goal-oriented creatures. When we see ourselves approaching a goal, we get hits of dopamine, right? So you're in college right now, right? You said you're working on a master's program for counseling. So every class you take, every assignment, everything, you're working towards this goal.
Yeah.
And you get a feeling of satisfaction and purpose from moving towards that goal. And a lot of people, they're just kind of floating through life, just kind of aimless, just like meatballs lost in the sauce. Just why am I here? What am I doing all day? And so by understanding what they want their ideal future to be, we can walk backwards from there.
Okay, so what I'm hearing now is even beyond getting your body healthier, getting your mind healthier, improving your sleep, it's actually developing a sense of meaning and purpose. So it's actually a bit existential.
Yes, yeah. Because that's the thing. Like we have such limited time here. And like part of me, I guess I can go into my motivation for what really prompted this. So last summer I lost my twin brother, and it did a couple things for me. Obviously it's very traumatic, but it kind of gave me perspective on how temporary things can be. How unexpectedly things can change, and how transient this existence is. And so it really lit a fire under me to try to do what I felt was more aligned with my purpose, so, first of all. And it also showed me that there's people out there that are suffering silently.
Yep.
Just every day, all the time. And they could improve their sleep and increase their protein intake, and now they feel better. Just something, to me, is so simple, so obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it sounds like to me you're feeling this compulsion to be of service to people.
Of course,
because you see these subtleties that can be introduced to their lives. You have this knowledge, you've practiced it, you've learned it, you've had things in your life that have made you recognize the kind of impermanence of our existence here.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it sounds like you have a sense of urgency. And I can even see it in the way you're posting content now. Like it's almost like, when you see someone and it's like they're doing exactly what they should be doing, and the universe is rewarding them for that with like a free flow of creativity. It seems like at least from an onlooker's, it seems like you're on that path right now, right? You're coming over, you're showing me a whole 12-week program. I'm seeing you're posting every day. Is what I'm saying right now, I know maybe you're being modest, but is what I'm saying resonating? Like, do you feel that flow happening?
Yeah, man. Yeah. It feels like this is the path I've been on for the past, 57 years that I've been alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I use good age defying moisturizer. It keeps me looking young. But, I've always loved mentoring. I always love coaching, obviously. Like mentoring, I do guest lectures at different universities, a resume review, blah, 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 personal training. But I thought, like, why not just get serious with it? I have a great career. I have a job. I work for an incredible company that pays well, but
that's outside of this realm.
That's outside of this realm. But I'm like, let me see what I can do to change people's lives, and it feels right. It feels like what I should be doing. Like the days are long, but the years are short, and that's what gives meaning in life is undertaking greater responsibility. And that's what this is. Like helping people. It's more responsibility, it's more work, and it's the money doesn't even motivate me. You know, like
I do know.
you know, it's like I just want to see whose lives I can change with the limited time I have here, because it's like we're all one call away from tragedy, but if we have like stability and routines and resilience, it can help us be strong for anything that comes. You know, whatever support, like say we do lose a family member. Like when I lost my brother, it was extremely difficult and extremely painful. But because I stuck to my sleep routine, my meditation, making sure I'm eating, making sure I'm still working out, like it really kept me from spiraling. And it was my life raft in a lot of ways. And I realized that I built resilience because of that. And so that's kind of what I'm indirectly trying to share and trying to teach other people.
And you know, what strikes me is it's not that you responded to such tragedy by starting to do those things.
Yeah.
You were already doing those
Yeah,
things.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
it was there for you.
Yeah.
Like you said, as that life raft. And I think so many times people think of, oh, I'm suffering, now I need to start meditating. Like, oh, things are good now.
Yeah.
Good. I can, I'll do a 3-hour sleep thing. Like,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a second, prepare for the moment that you're
Exactly.
not doing great.
Yeah.
And you'll have the foundation there for you. What would you say to someone that is resistant to structure? Because I do think inherently, like, we all do trend a little towards chaos. Order's
in some
really
ways.
tough.
Yeah.
That scheduling around your non-negotiables. That
Yeah.
doesn't sound natural.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
agree with you, by the way. I'm
Yeah.
a compulsive planner. But what would you say to someone who's resistant to structure?
Some people are more than others, but if you step back and think about your time, we're all pretty structured creatures. We do have routines in some ways. We're just not consciously aware of it. And some people have a harder time shifting, but I would say exploring, I would probably get granular with the person to understand what their internal limitations are, but also oftentimes just shifting someone's identity will help change their habits.
Tell me more about that. What do you mean by shifting their identity?
So I view myself as someone who prioritizes their health, right? And so rain, sleet, or snow, even if it's 25 below, I'm outside walking every single morning.
First thing.
Yeah, first thing within an hour of waking. I just get out, maybe 10 minutes. I just get outside.
And the science has shown that's
Oh yeah. It's incredible.
yeah.
Makes me less anxious. My
must.
sleep quality's better. It's incredible.
Yeah.
But I'm consistent with that. That's a habit because it's part of my identity. It's how I view myself.
you're someone who does that.
I'm someone that does that. And that's the shift, is looking at ourselves as someone who does the
Now,
thing.
are you someone who does that activity, or are you someone who takes care of himself and thus does that activity?
Yes.
Yeah.
Both.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because sometimes it can, after you do it long enough, it becomes who you are. Because that was new to me.
Yeah.
You know, I just started doing that a couple years ago. And now, even when I'm traveling, like I might go sit out on a balcony just to get that morning sun, just to make sure I get that light exposure to help and train my circadian rhythm. Like it's part of who I am at this point.
And so it's really about helping people change their inner narration about how they see themselves.
Yeah,
Which
absolutely.
is malleable.
Oh, 1,000%.
We can change that.
Yeah.
We're just telling ourselves stories about ourselves all day.
Yeah, that's all it is.
And you're just helping them edit that so that it's helping them behave more in line with who they want to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Like just figure out who you want to be. How good do you want your sleep to be? How good do you want to feel every day? Do you want to wake up dreading every day, or waking up more tired than when you went to bed? Like, there's things you can do to not do that. And a lot of these things I've been doing for years and didn't realize that nobody else was doing them.
Right.
That's
That's how I felt when I started meditating.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
Yeah.
not toot my own horn, that's not what it is, but I started not having my phone in my bedroom.
Yeah.
And people would look at me and they'd be like, "You do that?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, I do." Oh, I didn't know that was an option.
Yeah.
But really
you're
it
right.
is
Yeah,
like,
something as
and it's
simple as
not like a
that.
judgment thing. It's more of
Yeah.
like it just became so ubiquitous,
Of course.
to have the phone in the bedroom that
Yeah.
they didn't think about having an alarm clock anymore. But think about it, smartphones weren't always a thing. We had alarm clocks.
Yeah, we figured it out.
They worked,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like for me, I do have my phone in the bedroom, but I put my phones on airplane mode.
And you're not checking. It's not
Oh.
it's not Right, and so it's
I'm intentional with not having that be the last thing I see. You know, I got a little journal that I check off, that I do my cardio, and that's another thing is accountability. That's part of the program. But for myself, I created this journal where every day, did I do cardio that day? Did I lift weights? And just check a box.
habit tracker. My therapist just told me to do that 3 weeks ago. I still haven't done it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, we could talk about this offline. If you
Down.
want to
We
coach,
can talk
you
about
know?
it on. We can talk about it online.
No.
Isn't that what podcasts are for these days? People just talk about their shit.
Yeah,
on air.
exactly.
I feel like
Yeah.
people are like trying to do self-healing on podcasts.
Right? Just yeah. Can you be my therapist? You know,
mean,
it'd be great to have a 4th session this week. You know, no, I'm kidding. I only had 2.
Yeah, too.
But, no. But whatever. But yeah. I got
I'll play into whatever bit you want to do, and as if it's real. I mean,
Thanks. Yeah.
No worries.
Yes, and no. But yeah, I have my micro journal that every night I'm just pen and paper, just columns, check off. Okay, I lifted weights that day. You know, I did a little bit of cardio. You know, did I work on my business? You know, just stuff like that. And everybody's will be different depending on what habits you kind of track or trying to track. And you get such a sense of satisfaction when you get to the end of the month and you're like, oh shit, I met my cardio goal or I lifted weights or blah, blah, blah. And, or I'm reading a paper book. Like I just reread Jurassic Park. It's so great. But yeah, you know, just, I don't like having my phone be the last thing I look at, you know?
I'm curious your answer to this, kind of just a sidebar. I know what
boy.
I think.
Oh,
but
boy.
do you feel like people have the knowledge of what they need to do already and just need the structure and the coach to help them do it? Or do you feel like we lack the information of what's going on?
I'd say it depends on the person.
Okay.
You know, most people know, you know, put the donut down. You know, like, put the donut down, pick the weights up. Most people know that. But and then that's where the accountability piece comes in. Yeah. Right. But some people, like with the example I gave earlier with the person close to me that I'm like, just have a protein shake in the morning. Like
Yeah, there are some blind spots.
Yeah, exactly. And because this isn't something that's taught in schools. You know, we're not taught how to be healthy humans, like mentally or physically. And so there's a lot people don't know.
How would you feel? It doesn't mean it's the end of our conversation, but how would you feel if we opened it up for a little bit, see if any of our conversation sparked any questions in the audience?
Yeah, I'm all about it.
When you ask a question, I'm just going to repeat what you said because the microphone's on me. So I'm not ignoring you. I'm just echoing it out. But feel free to raise your hand or shout out a question, something maybe I didn't ask. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot of information being said here, but just out of curiosity, like, has there been one category of information or practices that have positively impacted your life more than the others, or is there one catalyst that really was like an aha moment for you that changed your life?
Yeah.
In a health regard.
The question is there one category of information or practices or like one clear habit or practice that like gave you that aha moment?
Yeah. I'd say locking in my sleep.
Yeah, that was mine too, to be honest with you.
Just prioritizing that, getting that morning sun, to stop eating 3-4 hours before bed, because I can.
Oh, you do 3 to 4.
Yeah, that's the goal, 3 to 4. Unless I'm out, like I was out to dinner for my grandpa's birthday yesterday. I had a big meal at 8 p.m. I'm up there laying, trying to sleep, like oh boy, I shouldn't have had all that salmon. It was good though, you know.
That's the inner narrative.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, but yeah, just I would say sleep in itself, and that was because I can feel it now that if I, for whatever reason, I pull an all-nighter, you know, or up till 3-4 a.m., like I'm shot for like 2 days.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know if it's still like a little bit of brittleness that came from my bad trip all those years ago,
right?
Or maybe it's old age. You know, now that I'm 66, like it's tough out here.
You aged 9 years since you last.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. I know it's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Eventually, I'm gonna age backwards. You know, we'll see.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah. Just for me, figuring out my sleep. You know, taking a little bit of magnesium, getting some morning sun, doing some deep breathing, stop eating meals. Because I would track, back when I used to wear a Fitbit, I could tell if I ate too late because I do my deep breathing exercise and my heart rate might be like 81, even after doing 5-6 minutes of deep breathing.
Wild. Yeah.
But if I ate my meal 90 minutes, 2 hours earlier, now my heart rate's dropping down to 65. And it's just such a small thing. You know, I wasn't doing nothing. Like, why not eat earlier? You know, but just using that data over time and figuring out what, and then the next morning I can objectively see that my sleep quality was worse just as a result.
I'll tell you, as an avid, like I've tried tons of stuff. Meditation's probably still my number one, but sleep's like 1A with meditation 1B. But I grew up in middle school. I was probably getting 3 to 4 hours of sleep a night. I was like, we had just gotten our computers. I was like video chatting. I was on AIM.
Of
I was
course,
like, whatever.
StarCraft.
Like I was just lingering around. I was like playing acoustic guitar with people. Like God knows what the hell I was
love it, yeah.
learning tabs of John Mayer songs or whatever.
Yeah.
But I know. Right? I grew up with like obsessive compulsive type like anxiety, like a lot of OCD. Like I was really anxious, and I think it was multiple things, but I was sleeping 3 to 4 hours a day. I had no clue.
Yeah.
I was like so tired. I couldn't wake up in the morning. In college, I'm sober now, but I was drinking a lot. That was impacting my sleep too.
Yeah, big time.
But once I got sober and I improved my sleep, like a good portion of that anxiety went away. Now I still had shit I had to deal with. But
course,
like, I think the biggest component of it was lack of sleep.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's wild. No one, I had no idea.
Yeah, it's wild because when you're sleeping, so we have something called the glymphatic system, which is basically your lymphatic system in your brain. That's when it goes through and clears out a bunch of waste, like reduces inflammation because we're producing, our neurons or brain cells are producing waste all the time, all day. Even this conversation is producing waste. And so when you're sleeping, it goes through and clears that out.
Right.
So if you don't get quality sleep or the quantity of sleep, that junk is still up there. And that's going to impact your cognition. That's going to impact your mood, your irritability, your
was totally more
impulse
irritable.
control. Yeah. 100%. So that makes sense. I'm glad you figured that out and we're able to work through that.
Same.
With what you, through the trial and error.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Yeah. We got some more questions? Hit me with it.
Yeah.
What's it?
So who is your mentor in this space? You're so knowledgeable about all these different aspects of health and fitness. Who would you say inspired you to start learning so much about it?
Yeah, the question here is, who's your mentor in this space? Who are some of your inspirations to get you into this work?
Oh man, there's a lot of people I follow. Like I wouldn't say I have one specific person because I try to learn from people smarter than me. And now that we have these, these magic boxes we keep in our pockets that gives us access to limitless information, I would say some, like the book Body by Science by Doug McGuff, that was game changing for me. Dr. Gabrielle Lyon, I follow a lot of her work. She has the book Forever Strong, which talked about the importance of muscle mass, that it's not just a rubber band that makes you look good, blah, blah, blah. Rhonda Patrick, she was huge in the vitamin D movement and how important that is. Like most of the people in this room are probably vitamin D deficient.
Yeah, I came low on my panel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And probably Andrew Huberman, he's been like a newer one in the past couple of years, but a lot of his stuff. So mentor wise, not anybody I know personally. I don't know, Scotty, Brandon, you're talking to him, AJ, yeah.
That is a beautiful aside, right? Like that actually, some of the, I don't want to call us ordinary people. You're miraculous, Scotty.
Yeah.
But, the ordinary people in your life, like the friends, they can be mentors too, right?
Yeah,
if you really get vulnerable with them, you can learn something beautiful from anyone in your life, whether they're an expert or not.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah. I'm so fortunate and so grateful for the friends I do have. And my family that has been so supportive, and I can always call on them, especially with the trauma we've experienced recently, like just being able to always have friends here that I could talk to, or family that I could talk to, it's incredible. Just having the network that I have that's another thing I'd say is I should have a pillar of that, like teaching people how to make friends.
Connection.
Yeah, because it's a loneliness epidemic right now.
I know.
Especially with men, and
I know.
Because men are in some ways more solitary than women are by default. And since we're on phones now and nobody goes to parties post-COVID, we're more connected than ever, but also more disconnected than we ever have been. And we're inherently a social species.
And also seeing everyone's lives being presented on social media probably could make someone who is lonely feel lonelier.
Exactly.
Why am I not connected like them?
100%.
And they're also not seeing the full spectrum of that person's life.
It's a highlight reel.
Yeah.
It's just like everybody looks good on social media,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a crazy thing, man. This world we live in, it's wild. Yeah.
Any other questions? Things come up?
Out of all of the like mental health influencers, and I hate to call them influencers, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like health, fitness, why should we follow you specifically?
Yeah, so the
Yeah, that's a
question
good
is,
question.
out of all the different people approaching mental health
Yeah.
in the education space, in the influencer space, like why you? Why would someone choose to be your client or even listen to you if they're listening to this episode?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. No idea. No, no, kidding. I think
I don't think you are kidding.
I mean,
No, but I say that because I think you made it funny, but I think
Yeah.
you're trying to be a little humble. You were trying to, before you gave your answer, you were trying to like let the release valve of humility out. And I think that's good.
Yeah. Okay,
Keep
thank
that.
you. Thank
Keep
you.
that, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
no, that's the goal.
But also-
that's why I said it.
But also tell us, yeah, I'm going to analyze
Yeah,
what you mean.
exactly. Yeah.
Even though I really do think that was what it was.
Thank you.
You're
thank
welcome.
you.
Yeah.
I've been studying this for a long time, and my approach towards what I learn, it's very scientific in the sense. Like I liked randomized controlled trials, and I'm up here reading papers and really trying to root cause things. Like that's if I were better at math, I probably would have been an engineer. But anybody who knows me knows I'm terrible at math. Because I like to understand how things work, like the underlying mechanisms things are built upon. And by having that approach, I think it allows me pretty good pattern recognition when it comes to seeing the problems that people have and fixing the underlying mechanisms, you know? Like, and by having that approach, it allows me to help people in different ways. On top of the way my brain works, certain information is really easy for me to learn and just, it sticks to my head like Velcro. Somebody's face and name, nope. But, how many bones are in the human body? 206, but so that answers, I guess that's part one. And the second part, I genuinely enjoy helping people. I genuinely enjoy improving the quality of other people's lives. Like that gives me fulfillment. And so I think by working with me, people can have this opportunity to bring out the best version of themselves. Because I'm invested in them being that. And with my approach, I really want people to succeed. That's my goal with every person I work with every client. Like I want them to walk away a better person than they were when we started. Because I'm a firm believer in that expression that the things we take from other people die with us, but the things we give to other people has the potential to live forever. And this is my vehicle to give in that way. I know all this science stuff. I love coaching and mentoring. Like, why not combine the two, And I'm so passionate about it. Like, I wish I'd started doing this years ago. Did that answer your question? Okay, good. To play.
If you still have it, if it
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
remains in your head.
Brandon, what was Jay, you said so many amazing things.
Thank you.
And
I try.
Very informative. So I'm curious, Brandon, you talked to a lot of people. What was something that you took away that's going to impact your life?
A lot. I think for me, the thing that was most resonant for me was the commentary on meaning and purpose. As both a driver for him that's propelling him to do what he does, but also helping other people find meaning and purpose, and having that be the driver. Look, we can change habits, right? We can attack on the surface, but that stuff's never going to stick if it's not tied to a core value or core ideal. It's why it was my first question to him in this entire interview. It scared the shit out of him, but it got us deep quick once he got over that.
I was not ready.
Right. But 5 seconds later, you're good. I'm glad that was most resonant for me, and why I think he's going to be successful is because he's not just, it isn't only about he waxed poetic just now about the knowledge and the science, but I think the fact that he's also a contemplative human being who's actually doing his own inner work and exploring, using himself as a metacognitive test for the work he's doing, right? Everything he's asking you or anyone else to do, he's already doing.
Yeah.
He's responding to his own trauma in his life, and he's like, I have finite time here.
Yeah.
Like, now I'm going to do this work. And I think someone being motivated by that, rather than being motivated by status or money or things like that. I hope he makes a shit ton of money as a byproduct, but it shouldn't be the number one value on his values hierarchy, because then he's never going to actually be able to help people find that meaning, because it's going to be all about how much money he can make.
Yeah.
But he's going to make a lot of money because he's going to help people find meaning, right? And so I think that was most resonant for me, is that this is someone who's introspecting. He didn't mention the word spiritual, but there's a spiritual essence to what he's doing, right? He's helping people find those, I personally believe in our life that we all have our own little spiritual contract. I'm not using those words for him, I'm just using them for me, it's my framing. And we each have our own little rough edges, and Jay is looking at what are your rough edges, right? What are your rough edges?
Very judgmental.
Yep. Yeah. What are you? And then what's the meaning? What's the target you're setting at the wall? And how can we smooth out those rough edges so that you can hit a bullseye now? And so I think the thing that was most resonant for me that he said that I'm going to take with me and continue my own studies is letting meaning and purpose be the why for everything that I choose to do.
Yeah.
And if there's something that I choose to do that's not aligned with that meaning or purpose, I better either change that meaning or I better change that behavior. And it's usually change the behavior because that meaning and purpose was well thought out. So I think that was probably most resonant.
Good. I'm
from what he
glad.
said.
I'm glad, because that's I mean, we're all here, and a lot of us, we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, like, we're just aimless. Like, for several years after I graduated college, you know, I got my big boy job and everything. It was like, okay, this is it. you know, like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
And so I've coaching, mentoring, speaking has always helped me, like, kind of get me on the path towards this, basically, where I put some structure towards helping people and I make it one-on-one and personalized and everything. And it's so much more fulfilling than some of the other stuff I do, man. Like, I feel bad for all these college students that I can't help now because all my time is doing this, but they'll figure it out. You know, like, have ChatGPT write your resume.
I love how you gave such poetic advice, and then you're capping off the episode with have ChatGPT write your resume.
Right. Yeah,
such
exactly.
a stark
Yeah.
contrast in quality of advice.
I know.
Yeah. But isn't that sometimes there's contradictions in life?
Yeah, 100%. And it's like, I don't know. Everything's so, I like levity. You know, we can always be serious, but I don't know. I like just cracking jokes, bro.
I agree. I think laughter is the release valve for seriousness, and
Definitely.
the ability to bounce between the two
Yeah.
without
yeah.
at a drop of a dime is a good thing.
Exactly.
Were there any other questions?
Yeah.
or
What's up
thoughts
with these
going on?
questions? Come on. Don't be scared.
Yeah, go there and then we'll go there.
Are you sponsored by?
No, I should be.
The question was, are we sponsored by Nutricost?
Yeah, I should be. I tagged him in like 50 videos, but no.
Well, we're going to tag them in this one,
Yeah.
and guess what?
Yeah.
Do you want to sample what an ad for them might look like? You could show them what sponsoring you would do.
Yeah.
Grab on, hold on to it. Said you like levity. All right, and tell
feel like Vanna White.
Nutricost. Tell Nutricost why they should sponsor you, and tell people why they should use Nutricost.
Absolutely.
Grass-fed whey protein.
Absolutely. So this is Nutricost grass-fed whey protein. As you see, each serving has 30 grams of protein. It's grass-fed, higher in vitamin K. It's isolate, so it's a much better quality. It's less likely to upset your stomach. I mean, this bad boy's only 150 calories for 30 grams of protein. That's crazy.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
My calorie to protein ratio is way different than that.
exactly. And it's delicious. You know, I add a little like lactose-free 2% milk. Mwah! Chef's kiss. You know, when we had that ice cream thing a few weeks ago.
We hosted an ice cream party in this 2-bedroom apartment.
So y'all thought y'all was having mint ice cream? No, it was just frozen whey protein. You know, surprise. No, I'm kidding. It would have tasted better had I done it. You know, tasted so much better. But yeah, you should buy this. It's delicious. I like it. And yeah.
I'd be shocked if they didn't respond to you, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, I would be.
Yeah, I'll tag them.
I mean, you just made an ad for them.
Yeah, I guess I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I seriously, this has been my go-to for years. Whenever I go to put in my Amazon cart, it says purchase like 50 times. And I'm like, how much of this stuff do I eat? You know? But yeah, it's I
So
do
that was
like
the
it.
better ad. So I was waiting for the real you to come out. You did the hyperbolic you first.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the ad that they're going to want, that latter part. So we'll make sure to send them that too. There's a question here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could probably be like a capping question to in the episode, but
Oh, boy.
what is something that you've learned throughout this process that has made you a better person, just in terms of like helping clients,
Yeah.
you know, improving yourself, but in general, like what is something that we should take away from this?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the question is, what is something you've learned in this process that
Sure.
the audience here could take away? Process of starting the business, doing
Yeah.
their own exploration,
Yeah,
working
yeah.
with clients.
Pertaining to clients, I would say people may be suffering, but you have no idea how much. You know, from the people I've worked with, we usually get pretty deep with what we're talking about, and you never know what burden someone's carrying. And so it has allowed me to kind of see that and to try to help in whatever way I can, for one. For myself, it's how to manage my time better. It's how to manage my time better for one, because this is like very consumptive to be an entrepreneur on top of my regular job, on top of trying to hit the gym, get my cardio, be this handsome. Like all these things are very time.
Yeah, that latter part takes a lot of energy.
Yeah. The age-defying moisturizer, the Botox.
Especially
I
if
get.
you're aging 9 years and
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's a lot of Botox, bro.
Yeah.
It's a lot of Botox.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how to manage my time better, that's a big part of it. And in that I'm grateful that I found this, because yeah, it's hard work and it's scary to do something like this. Like I hate posting online, but I challenged myself where I would post every day for 60 days straight. And I was able to overcome that fear and get more comfortable and learn how to edit videos. And all this stuff is just making me stronger, because I'm doing things I don't want to do. And anytime you do that, you do get stronger, like in life. Like it's just like a muscle. So it all comes back to that, right? You know.
Was there anything I didn't ask you tonight that you felt like you'd be disappointed if you didn't get a chance to answer?
Let's see. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Well, then we did a good job.
Yeah, I think we did do a good job. Thank you.